I had an issue when I was younger. Unfortunately, I didn't catch it as quickly as you did. Mine cost me a little bit over 14 years. Yours didn't. I just so happy that you landed on your feet, and it's only going to make you a stronger person. And the radio station is going to be much better.
Well, I appreciate it. As you know, we have a very unique experience for doing bad things, getting in trouble, paying a price for those bad things, going to prison, and deciding what you want the rest of your life to be. And in a weird way, I'm very blessed that it was only a year of my life in prison, and that I'm young enough to live my life in a better manner for the last 30 years of my life and be the example I always want to be for my kids. And if I can accomplish that, then I'm a big winner at the end of the day.
Even my 9-year-old listens to you on the radio.
There you go. Good, because in 16 years, she's going to be very important to what we do around here.
I was going to say.
Start them young. Yeah, listen, it's an interesting time of year when you're an admitted and open, honest, compulsive gambler. Because Thanksgiving, sadly, always represented more than just Thanksgiving. It was, I got 3 games to bet on for a lot of people. Now, my issue was blackjack. But when there are moments like that, you go down that road too. And again, I'm not going to be preachy about it. I'm not going to tell you not to. I think legalized gambling is fine. It's good. State tax revenue and all that. But there's a segment of you out there that are going to be in a spot where you're going to go down a bad road. And it's inevitable for some of you, not all of you. Enjoy it, do it. But for those of you that are starting to live your life, and gambling's what's the word I'm looking for? An irresponsible part of it, and it's taking over a lot of your brain power and your time and your energy. If nothing else, trust me on this, it can get really bad. It can take you to really dark places where you make really bad decisions that negatively impact a lot of really good people around you, not just yourself. And if nothing else, if you want to learn from my mistakes, please do. I'm an open book on it. Man, I lost everything. Legitimately everything. Was at the top of the world, and I went to prison. And I'm rebuilding from scratch. And those are because of my self-inflicted, stupid decisions. And I didn't realize that I was an addict. They had to beat me over the head and convince me that I was. But I'll say this. The moment, and I can't speak to other addictions, but I imagine it's similar. The millisecond when you do take ownership of it and you're willing to admit it and acknowledge it is one of the great days of your life. Because your life changes in that millisecond. That's the day it changed.
And you realize, as you're because I'm curious, when you're not admitting you have it, is it really instant when you say, holy crap, I have a gambling problem? Or does it move slowly for you to realize that?
I think everyone's different in that. For me, it's funny. You look back now and go, so stupid. So obvious I had a problem. Denying it seems so stupid now. The amount I was gambling, the amount of time I spent gambling, all the lies I told to cover up my gambling. What are you doing? Where are you? That kind of stuff. Looking back, with clarity, it seems so dumb now. But for me, and I can only speak to me, I know there's a lot of people, we share the same experiences, but to speak to myself, when I was in it, it's almost like being drunk, man. Yeah, I was in a daze and a cloud. I was in this, when I played blackjack, I felt comfortable. I felt good. I was in this cocoon where I felt protected. But the rest of the day, I spent so much time trying to figure out how to get back to the cocoon. Financially, time, all that stuff that came with it. And it's uber consuming. Like I said to someone the other day, when I came clean about having a problem and stopped gambling, the amount of free mental space that I opened up was absurd. Like, I don't know what to do with myself.
Well, it makes sense if you're spending all the time thinking about not just doing it, but getting there.
Yeah.
So,
and all the things you hide and the lies you tell to protect yourself from yourself. And frankly, you hurt the people that love you the most.
Right.
Financially, emotionally, and everything else that comes with it. So like I said, when I went to Alchemist, who I'm doing commercials for now, I went there originally because I wanted to shut people up around me. Hey, and by the way, it'll look good if you go. That's why I went. I didn't have a problem. I told myself, convinced myself, didn't have a problem. And then, I've said this before, I think to you, in my very first group meeting,
that's when it, right.
When 11 other people from all walks of life, men and women, all different types of gambling addictions, kenos, scratch-off, slots, etc., and they stole the words out of my mouth like I'd given them a script. It wasn't until that moment, and I'm going to be as honest as I can, I gambled after that. I did. I went to a 2-week rehab. I took ownership of having a problem, and I went to a casino after it, which, looking back, I mean, is even dumber, right? I had been arrested. I was going to prison. I'd gone to rehab, and I went to a casino 2 more times. And I went there because I wanted to prove to myself I could go with a certain amount of money, win or lose, and stop and walk out the door.
And did you?
No. I did not.
And when you walked out the first time, losing all of that money.
The first time I won and had a casino tell me, we don't want you to play anymore because I was up. I've never experienced that in my life. A casino asked me to stop playing because I was winning. And I took a portion. And remember, I had no money. I'm unemployed. I needed that money. And I took a percentage of that money and a couple days later went to a different casino and lost all of it. And that was the last time I wagered in my life.
And when you walked out of that casino, then you knew, I can never walk into this place ever again. That was your experience.
I'd gone to rehab. I hadn't committed myself yet to GA, which I then did on a weekly basis, never missed a meeting. It wasn't until I went to that 2 different casinos. I won, and then I lost. And when I walked out of that casino having lost, and I needed that money, like sorry about the soapbox, but like when we talk about Hungerthon, it's personal to me because you may not want to believe this. I lived it. Like I was looking under couches and in my car for change so I could eat breakfast because I had lost everything and I had no income coming in. And I try to find $1 or $2 so I could buy a bagel, a slice of pizza. I've lived it. I've experienced it. And I gambled those last 2 times. And the second time when I lost everything I walked in with, that was the last time I ever gambled. That's when it truly slapped me across the face. I'd been to rehab.
Right.
I'd started the process of GA, but not seriously. And that's when I said, wow, you really have a big effing problem, buddy. And I've not gambled since. So I've not gambled now in over 2 years. 2 years in June. So I'm proud of that. But it took all that. Like I was going to prison and still went and gambled.
And it took even being in rehab, knowing you had a problem, and still going back twice.
And that was ego. Because I wanted to prove to myself I can handle it.
Right.
Forget all this crap, all the things I learned. Like the acknowledgement and the recognition that I have a problem, which truly happened in Arizona. I owned it. I got a problem. And I still, because of my ego as a gambler, had to go back. And by the way, and then I win.
Right.
And I couldn't stop. And then I went back again, and then I stopped.
You almost needed to lose that first time when you think about it. Because the losing is probably what made you say, holy crap, I really have a problem. I got to stop.
Yeah, because when you win, it's like, oh.
Right. Oh, this is great. I got money.
I'm so good at this. I can win again.
Exactly.
And I needed the money. Yeah. So that for me now, that's blackjack, but it applies, to sports gambling also. I'm never going to tell you not to do it because far majority of you can do it responsibly, recreationally. It's fun. Hey, there's a ball game on tonight. We're going to put $50 on it. Okay. But there's a decent number of you that are going to go down the road and going to start making bad decisions.
Right.
And it's going to be all encompassing to you. It's going to take over. And I'm here for you, man. I talked to a young guy yesterday who's home from college, who's living it right now. And the fact that I could be there for a kid, it could be my son age-wise. And he reached out to me. And I'm blessed that I have that opportunity. through 1-800-GAMBLER and the National Council on Gambling now, and the folks at Algamis. We're going to do some really cool programming starting in January to let you know that there's a place to go. I said in my trial that 1-800-GAMBLER is woefully inadequate. And that's not a shot at 1-800-GAMBLER. It's a shot that when we read those quick disclaimers at the end of commercials, they don't do anything, they don't mean anything. 1-800-GAMBLER's got amazing resources for people. And I learned it yesterday. I connected a kid with 1-800-GAMBLER literally last night. And knock on wood, it's going to save the kid's life. So if I can be that guy going forward, I'm all in. And I take full ownership of having a problem, of making bad decisions, of hurting a lot of people, mostly those very close to me, my own family, not just financially, emotionally. The people that that stood by me, people that came to visit me. Like, imagine going to visit someone, man, in prison. That's a big undertaking, right? I let my kids down. I let my wife down. I let my family down. And now I'm blessed with this great opportunity here at the Fan, working with you and the guys, not just to resurrect my career and earn a living and support my family financially, but to use the platform for something good. Because I did so much damage to so many people. And the narrative of my life, if you say Craig Carton, unfortunately, the first thing for a lot of people is negative. So I live with that. And that, to me, is a challenge. And the challenge for me is to change that narrative. There was a long time where being Craig Carton's kids was really cool. And I effed that up. And it was embarrassing. And I can't imagine what my kids and my wife had to go through every time my name got mentioned or someone read their last name, in a classroom, whatever it might be. And it went from my dad's the coolest guy in the world to my dad's the jackass in prison, or my husband, right? And you never think about what family goes through. So what I hope to accomplish, and there's no guarantee I will, and I hope that every one of you listening to the show holds me accountable for it. And you, Evan, and Tommy, and Mac, you got to hold me accountable for it. That one day, and that day's not going to be tomorrow, one day when you do say my name, I've successfully changed the narrative to he effed up, but he made the most of his second chance and helped other people. And if that is, at the end of my life, the story of my name, that I took advantage of the opportunity to help other people either not go down the road I went down, recover from the same mistakes I made, then I'll consider that a real blessing. And I'll consider myself a success at life, as a dad, as a husband. Because right now, I'm not. Right now, I'm a failure. Period, stop. I failed. I failed the people that love me the most. I did. And it's all on me. I made every bad decision. Nobody held a gun to my head. I loved gambling. I loved playing blackjack. Helicopters, private jets, you name it. It was afforded to me. And I have nothing to show for it. That's why I don't talk about the money a lot, because it's obscene. The wins and the losses. But I won so much money at certain places, the fact that I have nothing to show for it is beyond embarrassing and obnoxious. And it lends itself to the reality of me having a problem, and that's why I'm not against gambling. I'm not going to be a hypocrite about it. I respect that many of you do it, the majority of you do it without a problem, but I'm also not going to give up this amazing opportunity and platform to help people. Like last night was such a huge night for me, and I'm not going to say his name, obviously. A kid called me, and I've been there. As a kid with no money, whatever amount of dollars in debt, to a lot of people starting to do bad things, going down a bad road, and we're able to help the kid out and connect him with experts. I'm no expert. I can talk about my story. By no means am I a professional in that field, but they exist. They're out there. So if it's not you, if it's a loved one, a brother, a sister, a father, an uncle, a son, you know it. You know it. You can see it. You know the people in your life that got a problem. And I'm telling you, I swear to you, there is help out there for them. I'm here for them. And I will connect anyone that needs it to the right people that can effectuate a positive change and maybe save a life. The suicide rate of gambling addicts is more than any other addiction, I think, combined. It's a secret assassin, secret addiction. Because like I've said, Gambling doesn't have a smell, an odor, or look. You don't know that. Listen, I came into work every day, hosted the #1 morning show in America, and the people I sat next to for 10 years had no idea. None. It's so easy to hide it.
And you can't do that with those other vices like you
Right,
mentioned.
and that's what so many gamblers do. So as you get ready for Thanksgiving, take stock of what you got, take stock of who you are, take stock of who your loved ones are, and if you think for a minute there's something going on, just pick up the phone, man. Email me directly. I'll connect you if I have to. I'm happy to. It'll be my work for life. You know, part of my sentencing is 150 hours of community service. And I don't get into all the details of it. It'll start next June when I start, getting credit for doing it. But I'm going to do it well before that and well after it. And again, it's something that'll be a part of my life forever. So just be smart. Be as smart as you can. And if you got to a point when you can't be smart, you got a problem. Acknowledge it, own it, pick up the phone. The help is there, I promise you. The help is there. And for what it's worth, I'm sorry that I went off on that tangent. I didn't see that coming, but it's there, man.
It's okay, because think about it. That tangent, as you call it, there's definitely people listening right now who know someone or it's resonating with them. So it's well worth it.
I hope so. We'll take a break. We'll get back to what we do. 877-337-6666.